John, thank you for taking time to speak with me. Obviously, the last 24 hours have been, I'm sure they've been a lot for you. What has it been like in terms of coordinating all the rehab and stuff for players like Sasser and Jamal Shea?
Well, like Marcus or any of the other guys, this means so much to them. You don't have to do much. What can I do? What is it that can help me manage the inflammatory process, my pain? They don't put it as inflammatory process, but how do I make myself better? So for them, and Marcus is one of those that lives in the training room anyway from a recovery standpoint. You don't have to tell Marcus to come to the training room every day after practice, whether that's in June, whether that's in November when we first start, or whether that's now. He's always in the cold tubs, always taking care of himself. Normatex, all of our recovery systems that we have. So as soon as he had an injury, the morning after the championship game, went and got an MRI, had that MRI really early that morning. As soon as we were done with that, we were in the training room, and he's basically been living in the training room. The good thing now is we have so many different portable devices that he just has them on him nonstop. So we just switch off the different devices, the different things that we can use, from electrical stim, ultrasound, different things like that. So he's just been living on those things for the last 5 days, 6 days since it happened. But guys like Marcus and many of the other guys on the team, this is what they do. And so they are always in tune to taking care of their bodies. When they're younger, not so much, but somebody like Marcus, he's been taking care of himself from the beginning. You know, you look at someone like Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes lived in the training room. He knew how to take care of his body. We kind of use the term around our place, being a pro, and that's what pros do. You know, as soon as they get done, they're taking care of themselves. Ice on the knees, cold tubs, Normatec recovery boots, all those different things. They live on those things.
With Marcus, how important is communication with him? Because with him, it's like a groin injury. It's much more difficult. I mean, you could feel 100% 1 minute. All it takes is one movement, and then you could be in pain again.
Right. Well, what we've done in coordination with our team physicians, is you look at them clinically and you look at them diagnostically, and then you give them that information. So once you have those things before you, does he look good clinically? Does what you're seeing in the clinic, in his clinical exam, does that match with what's going on with the diagnostic studies? You give them that information, and then it's up to them at that point. As we always talk about, the more information they have, the better decisions that they can make, because they're the ones that are really in tune with their body, right? So we know that everyone's pain is real and everyone's pain is different. How you scale your pain is different from one person to the next. So he knows and understands. He's been doing this for a long time. He's a senior. You're trying to play in a championship last weekend and what that means to him. Now we're playing in the NCAA tournament and what that means to him. Coach has confidence in him. I have confidence in him. Our team physicians have confidence in him. Can you go or can you not go? In other words, if there was something we either saw clinically or diagnostically that said you shouldn't be going, then that's the information that we give him. When we look at him clinically or we look at him diagnostically, hey, this is what we're seeing back. It's on the low grade of things. Clinically, you look good, so we match those two things. Pain's back in your court. I've had student athletes that have had broken bones before. Now, broken bones have a much better predictive healing value than soft tissue, like to your point, the groin. A lot of muscles in there in the groin area, and we know which one specifically that was had a mild strain to it. But given that information, we've had kids that can play as long as they can protect themselves. So most of these guys, especially this time of year, are playing with some type of pain. Patellar tendonitis and itis here and there. It's just how we go about managing it. To your point of all the different therapies that we can do, and these guys coming in and getting those things that we can have them sleep with even, so they're getting therapy kind of through the night. They're doing that continuously. So at the end of the day, it's okay to play. We'll have that conversation. It's okay for you to play with pain if you can protect yourself. If you can do that, then we would put that ball back in his court to say, hey, I can or I can't go. And so, been with Marcus for 4 years or so. Had a number of different injuries. So he and I can talk about what about your toe? What about your foot? and we can compare those different things. He's had a couple of sprained ankles. He's had a couple of different things. So we're always, how does this feel compared to that, compared to this on your pain scale and things like that. So he's very familiar. We've got that. If he were a freshman, that might be different. Him coming in his first year, he and I hadn't established that relationship, so I'm getting to know these freshmen. Have they ever been hurt before? Whereas Marcus, we've been together for 4 years, so we can talk about the many different things that he's had and been able to draw on those experiences as well as the most current one to help him make the best decision for him.
Would you say with Sasser, like you alluded to, like his pain tolerance, something Coach says all the time, he's a tough player. With him, is there you always hear the term re-aggravation, which I've heard it's not a real word, but aggravating, when it comes to growing. With him, is it much more of that pain tolerance, or is there, it's not really in terms of he could injure it more, if that makes sense?
Right, and we talk about, everybody always wants to know, can I make things worse? Well, we can always make things worse. If you've got an injury somewhere, things can always go from bad, they can always get worse, but that's what we talked about. These guys got a pretty good barometer on what that pain level is, what they can work through, and what they say, I can't go. And like we've been together, this whole group of people, whether they're a freshman, transfer, or somebody like Marcus has been a senior, they'll tell me, look, John, I can't play through this. I've tried. Even if they looked good clinically, if a student athlete told me they can't go, then they don't go. And so it wouldn't matter what it is. That's happened throughout the summer. That happened throughout. And the other thing to kind of consider is where we are in the season with what Marcus is going through. And so there's always that. We always talk about that can go from bad to worse. But again, you kind of base it on what you're seeing clinically, what you see diagnostically, where their pain level is, and what they're able to play through. So Marcus and I have had many of those conversations, even since he went down. So he goes down on the court. I get to him. I thought it was his knee, to be quite honest. I thought that's
in the conference tournament.
Oh yeah, because he hit the floor pretty hard. The splits hit the floor. I thought it hurt his knee. And when I got to him, he said, no, it was his groin. And so we've been in constant communication since then. Explain to me what you felt, what you heard, all those different things. That's part of your clinical exam. Then, as we're coming back from that, how do you feel today? Tight, sore. There's a difference from one thing to the next. Yesterday, when he comes out of the game, we can tell he visibly is kind of, hobbling, coming back down the floor. So immediately, how far down the mountain did we fall? Did you feel a pop, a snap? Did you feel it? And he said, his comment was, I just landed different, and all of a sudden it felt like it was sore again. And so where before, in those minutes before that time, he was going, full speed. So even when we get back to the hotel last night, we're in the cold tubs, and so let's talk more about what happened with you today. And he didn't feel like it was necessarily a re-injury. He just said it felt funny. It's all like he had a tingle there. So it was like he just shut it down in that moment. He even had some thoughts he wanted to come back. But you look at, again, you don't take any of these games for granted. Just because it's a 1 versus a 16, we don't take that for granted. You got to earn everything you get, because this time of year, everybody's capable of winning games. Doesn't matter of your seeding. So, but you feel like in that moment, we had a lot more. We weren't playing exceptionally well, but why risk the rest of the day? Hopefully we've got tomorrow for him to go out and play. So, it's just a decision that it's not worth trying to go back out there. And like you say, making something that was small, he's noticed it, then no more at that point. So the best decision was to not try, not go back out there.
Final question for you in regards to after the game. It looks like you're going player to player, because obviously,
you saw me in there afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that is a lot of our recovery stuff. We can start right there in the training room or in the locker room. Most of it we would do when we get back to the arena. But I've got a couple of guys that like different things. So we've got all these little different things that we can use. Well, Jairus likes this, and Tremont likes this, and Jamal likes this. So we've got these different modalities that we can use from a recovery standpoint. So I was getting those on those two guys early. And then once you get back to the hotel, we knew the cold tubs were going to come into big play last night. Whether we had injuries or not, we've got those cold tubs, we've got the Normatex. we use all those things anyway. So we were going to put those into play when we got back, but it became of particular importance whenever you've got some guys that got banged up. But when you're playing, I don't have, play on a Sunday. We don't play again till Thursday like you do during the regular season. Last weekend it was even more detrimental because you're playing 3 games in 3 days. The fact that we played a late game on Thursday, we were excited about that because that gave us more time from incident of injury on Saturday. So that gave us almost 6 full days for Marcus to come back, 6 full days for him to heal. He basically didn't do anything on Monday, Tuesday. When we got out here, yeah, he's doing a little bit and really didn't have him much in practice at all. The most practice he did was in shoot-around day of the game. So it felt good, and then let's see how you feel when we get to the arena tonight. And so, but it was nice having that amount of time. Now you've got a full day in between, and you figure we started treatment as soon as the game was over last night. And I got handheld Compex, I got handheld H-Wave, we got Sam Sport. I've got, you got all these different things that you can throw on these guys. Which one do you like best? So boom, we put that on them and help them recover right away. But he's basically, since this happened, when he came back to the bench at Cincinnati, when he heard it, he's worn out that battery on the Compact since it happened. And we've tried some different modalities with him since Saturday, and he said, I like that one the best, so that's the one that we go with. Feels like it works best for him. So, yeah.
Gotcha.